Luca Nation, welcome back to another
Oh,
episode
hey
of
now.
Lucas, Tigers, and Bronze. Oh my. What Cage is saying, if I'm PWCC, I keep Andrew happy. And I would totally agree with that because I've got an SGC sub back. And now with the free vaulting, it's not even a question. These are going to go there. They're going to be stored safely. They're going to be insured. If I need a loan, I could take out a loan under them. If I want to run them weekly, I could do that. Or if I want them back for a show, I get them shipped next day. So we could talk a little bit about that. These are two cards were cracked and sub. The other one was raw to grade, and I'm very happy with those.
Andrew's on crack again. I love it.
Again, so watch out, all you guys out there. I don't know. And then basketball's back. We'll talk a little bit about Tua, which basically broke the internet yesterday, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I got you guys the Jeter Science Lab giveaway. We're going to be reading some of the comments and announcing the winner here on the show. So
that's a lot of good topics. Can I start off with I know it's not going to be the longest episode in the world today because of other prior engagements, but I'll start off with 1 minute. I got a message which got me thinking, and I could just read the message and read the answer, but I want to paraphrase it, right? And basically it was, hey guys, heard you're talking about be careful who you listen to, be careful the influencers you listen to, and the whole 9 yards, and kind of almost I don't say attacking them, but you guys have said a few times, be careful who you're listening to and what they're doing. But you guys, you've done 815 episodes, but whether you want to call yourself influencers or not, you guys are you influence people, meaning me and you. And there was a time in the very beginning where we were also talking about, hey, here's a good card play. Here's a good player to invest in. And so we're now, I don't want to say criticizing, but we're now calling out or telling people to be careful of who they listen to when, there was a time we were probably hoping people were just listening to us about our plays and our stuff. And, my response to it, I think was thoughtful and I think makes sense, but it's worth obviously bringing it up. I think most people get comments like this and they say, F off, do as I say, don't do as I do.
This is probably the comment I think the most about, by the way. So,
but I mean, it's something to be mindful about, right? And, my response, of course, was, there's a reason why we haven't done that for hundreds of episodes. And it's, the overall environment of not just the hobby, but, the macroeconomic picture of the world is significantly different than a couple hundred episodes ago for us, right? When we started off, if you were to do a supply and demand chart, the demand was skyrocketing, and people were looking for cards. People were looking to invest in players who their on-court performance actually meant something for their cards. And people were home. People were doing nothing but watching sports when they were available. You had the pandemic, so people were glued to the internet. People were coming back to eBay, coming back to, PWCC, coming back to where they were buying their cards. And it was just a very different time. Now you have the economy with rates in a completely different direction. People's own, pockets are in a completely different direction. People don't have as much money to spend. And I think with that, like anything else, like Andrew can tell you, if you have a bad market, a worse market, there's more fraud out there. Somebody may have had his wallet hacked. Who knows? I mean, it's just what happens, right? I mean, these are the things that happen. There are more people out there trying to scam now. There are more people out there who are out for their own. And I'm not saying any hobby influencer is doing this, but Andrew, he called me up, has to be 400 episodes ago, maybe more. I was like, listen, the economy is changing. The hobby market is changing. We need to talk about what's going on, in the world. We need to talk about what's going on in the hobby and not focus so much on, is Evan Mobley the play? I mean, it's not Evan Mobley because, but is, Kawhi Leonard a card we should be buying? We want to talk about that. That's fine. You want to give reasons and you name it the whole, but it shouldn't just be picks. It shouldn't just be plays. It shouldn't be trying to tell people we have these cards, that we think you should be purchasing. So it's something that I definitely, wanted to address. We didn't get a lot of comments on it, but it just takes one for me to start, being a little more introspective. And I think the message that we're trying to get out there is there are still people who are buying things at this market now that might have made sense to buy 2 years ago. Right? It might have made sense in a different overall economic climate, in a different hobby, you name it. And where we're seeing these, I don't want to call them collapses, we're seeing these, big numbers followed by small numbers are in areas where there's this price discovery that didn't happen, right? Not things with a longer track record, as Andrew talked about yesterday. And we are just trying to preach a little bit of caution there and say, look, if something doesn't have a track record, and you have a couple sales, you have to take those sales with a grain of salt. It might be okay to sit out on the sidelines and watch the prices develop on these assets that haven't had a long ramp with a lot of data and a lot of sales. That was what I was talking about with that Futera card for Lewis Hamilton. I always come back to that. It's what we meant when we talked about the Marvel stuff that was out there. And believe it or not, it's kind of what I mean, not just about the length of time, but it's kind of what I mean about the Aaron Judge sell it when I said to sell it. It is all a matter of balancing the scales, managing your risk, trying to figure out what the potential upside is and what the potential downside is. And that's kind of what we're trying to preach on
all
the
that
show.
in a DM?
Yeah, all in a DM. It was a very long DM. It was very long.
You sent a voice message for sure.
No, it was a DM. I had to break it up into 10 DMs.
Yeah, it was like messages too long.
It was very long. But yeah, that was it. So anyway, listen, that's it. You can chime in on it because I know it's something you think about all the time.
Bo Bichette on the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's gonna be your World Series MVP. And if the Dodgers were pretty good, Bo Bichette's probably gonna have quite an impact on that.
Stay classy, San Diego.
Luca Nation, you guys are smart. From day one, we said we're never going to charge for picks, right?
I'm Ron Burgundy.
You guys, when we gave plays back in the day, we told you specifically this was the watch list, like CNBC Fast Money. There are 5 cards, 1 card, 3 cards, 10 cards, an insert, a parallel that you should take a look at. But you guys are never our exit liquidity.
Right.
We're not owning those cards, telling you about them, then selling them into you. And we're not charging for our picks and plays. So, sure, maybe on the surface it looks like, you told people what to buy and other people told people what to buy. But you watch 800 episodes, you know what we're about. You know what we're doing. We're never charging for plays, and you're never our exit liquidity. Most others, you're their exit liquidity, whether that's the curating of Marvel PMGs or, hey, buy my picks. That's not what we do. So it's very simple. You're smart enough to figure it out.
There you go. Move on to the next topic. Why do I keep making fun of Aaron Judge? I'm not making fun of Aaron Judge. I just want everyone to talk about it.
Cage and I, we grew up in interesting families. So to us, pleasure and success is foreign. We like pain. And as a Yankees fan, he knows Aaron Judge is probably going to lead them to a World Series. No, I don't know what that feels like. I'd rather just be in pain. So Aaron Judge, go on a slump.
I'll be watching the game, hoping he hits a 62nd, 63rd, and 64th tonight. It is a topic.
Page now has a poster of Derek Carr in his bedroom because he couldn't be happier. The Raiders are now 0-3. He's a huge fan. He might actually buy tickets to see the game.
But I might actually buy Derek Carr cards. Because risk management. What if he turns it around? What if now he goes from 0-3 to finishing the season 11-6 and making the playoffs, and all of a sudden they go on a run and Joe Burrow magic, he's in the Super Bowl, and I was able to pick it up for pennies on the dollar. Maybe that's the difference.
Let's talk about this.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I had no data behind this. There's no data possibly behind this.
We don't do data. That's not how we roll.
Today, I talked to data guys. Like I'm a big fan of Pancake Analytics. I'm like, what does your model say? How do you build the model? What's the model about? So I understand the value of data. It's not my strength. I kind of have a feeling Mahomes and Burrow are going to be like the Manning Brady of this up and
really.
And I think we were so quick to write off Burrow for like 2 bad games. But in my opinion, if you look at Burrow and Herbert, one guy is a hyped machine, and the other guy has been a winner through and through in every stage of his career. And I see him. He had 2 bad games. People were so low on him. But at the same time, this guy has all the tools. He has the poise. He has the it factor. And he has a proven track record of not only bouncing back from that college hit, which was crazy, bouncing back from that ACL injury, which is crazy, standing in the pocket and taking the hits. But he also has this, that it factor. And as much as we love Herbert, and I think that dude is 6'5", athlete, 3-sport athlete, could sling the ball all over the field. he never won. And I think it's time to stop trying to make fetch happen with people
Hey,
who've
look at
never
you.
done it, hoping that they will, versus right in front of your eyes, people who have done it, who have consistency in doing it.
You ready
So,
for me to pour some cold soda on it? Here you go.
sure.
I know you love Mahomes, but I watched the Dolphins game last night, and I came away with two things. One was about Mahomes, and one was about Burrow. And you're saying that they're going to be the Manning and the Brady. I think, first of all, that is a problem. We should stop doing the Manning and the Brady. I know you didn't mean it. You're just trying to come up with an easy comparison, but it's very possible that there is never another Brady. Well, maybe not in our lifetimes, right? I mean, what he did is amazing. Even what Manning did is amazing. If it wasn't a Brady, Manning would be the one we hold out. But here's what I took from that game. Number one, Joe Burrow is not somebody I'm buying right now because the Dolphins defense is very good. Let's give them their due, right? But they won that game yesterday. Burrow does not have time to throw downfield. Sure, he has a T. Higgins.
That's a different conversation, though.
But
that's an offensive line. That's not a player.
yeah, but he can't go out there without an offensive line. And for him to have success,
I didn't say to buy
right,
Burrow.
you didn't. If they fix the offensive line, Burrow might be the guy for the next 10 years. And I thought they did coming into this year, and they clearly did not. He can't throw downfield, and he can't keep taking the hits that he's taking. And, this was an interesting game last night, but I watched it. It's going to curb the numbers for Jamar Chase. And it's why you see T. Higgins, who has a shorter routes, crossing routes. It's going to curb the Jamar Chase numbers unless they fix what they're doing.
On Jamar.
Passing, they'll figure it out. They will. But right now, he doesn't have time to throw the ball deep, and that's impacting Jamar Chase's numbers. So that's number one on Burrow.
Do I hold my Jamar Chase Blue Eyes jersey number, or do I sell it?
Yeah, no, hold it now. I mean, you can hang on to it until he has a really great game. Is what I guess I would do. And they will find a game in there where the Miami defense is very good. There'll be a game or two where they're playing against a defense that's not so good, and Chase will have one of those 200-yard, 300 touchdown days, and you're like, "Oh, I'm glad I didn't sell this." So just wait for that. But here's the other thing. I got to tell you, Tyreek Hill is that dude.
Yeah,
he is really good. Catches the deep ball, even though he's a little guy. He goes up and gets the ball at its high point. He, when the ball's being scrambled for and it's being bobbled, he comes down with it. He runs over the middle. What is the guy? Basically 10 catches, 160 yards is a bad game for him. And if you watch that game, before Tua got hurt yesterday, I thought Miami was going to win that game. I know it was a close game and it was, field goals going back and forth, but Miami had some momentum before Tua got hurt. He has a great connection there, not just with Waddle, but with Tyreek Hill. And me being the contrarian that I am, I started to think, wow, everybody's on the Tua bandwagon now, and Tua's going to go to 4-0, 5-0. They're going to be an undefeated season and win the Super Bowl, and Mahomes isn't. And what's the difference? And a lot of it comes down to your weapons. And Mahomes has played with this amazing weapon of Tyreek Hill this entire time. And I'm curious about what happens to Mahomes this season when he doesn't have that and he needs it in those closer, high-scoring games. We saw it with the Colts this past week. The Chiefs only put up 17 points. He was missing that deep threat. He was missing that, take the top off the field. He was missing that Tyreek Hill in that game. He has other weapons. I mean, we all love Kelsey, but he has nobody there like Hill. And I think there's a chance, I'm not making a prediction, but I think there's a chance that Mahomes, there'll be weeks where he finds a way to be Mahomes and has sidearm passes and 4 or 5 touchdowns and no interceptions. But there'll be weeks where he's in these matchups where the defenses understand that he doesn't have the deep threat that he had previously and that they can basically cheat a little bit and keep the games closer. Mahomes usually wins those close games, but I just think
fire Bellamy because he's a clown of an offensive coordinator, and they're going to get a good offensive coordinator in there. Mahomes
still needs somebody to throw to.
Kelsey, Smith-Schuster. They're going to get someone in the offseason.
Listen, guys, and this is coming from a Joe Montana fan. I love Joe Montana, but remember, Joe Montana was throwing to Jerry Rice, right? So, and John Taylor was an all-pro wide receiver on the other side that people don't even know his name. But when you have the weapons to throw, and Roger Craig was a 1,000 running back before that even existed. He was a
good wide receivers are a dime a dozen, dude.
Okay. Maybe,
No?
but he doesn't have one.
Kelsey?
Kelsey's a tight end, and he's a very good tight end. No. I mean, you're seeing it. He can't do what Tyreek Hill did.
Well, not many people could do what Tyreek Hill did. He's a 4-3.
But that's what I'm saying. And I think Mahomes' production in the games that matter will suffer because of it.
But they're going to fire Bellamy. They're going to add a speedster in the offseason, and then
if you're telling me today you like these guys for their career because the mistakes that are going to come out this year, don't bet on them this year, but the mistakes, they're going to fix them. Their teams and the organizations are going to fix them. Just write off Mahomes and Burrow this year. They're not going to win the Super Bowl, either of them, but they'll fix it and they'll be fine. They'll add some offensive line and they'll have great careers. Okay, fine. I can only go with what I see on the field right now, and I think Mahomes is going to struggle this week against the Tampa Bay defense as well. But that's a very good defense also.
By the way, I was going to go to the Tampa game. Maybe I still will, but that's such a play. Last time Mahomes and Brady probably ever meet, you buy the ticket, like $300, $400, $500. Are tickets still a thing?
Yeah.
Get it graded and sell it, and basically go to a free football game. Or
you want free money? I don't know what the number is, but bet the under.
Oh, Cage.
Because why would you ever think about an under for a Mahomes Brady shootout? But it's going to be under.
Brady has no wide receivers, right? They're all like banged up.
Neither of them do. It's field goals, and more field goals is what I see in this one. Sunday
morning on Whatnot, 11 a.m. Guys, we're hitting record numbers on Whatnot, so you guys don't want to miss out. This is season 2. It's so much fun. We actually upload the Whatnot streams now on our YouTube a little bit later, around 4 p.m. that day. But if you want the live broadcast, 11 a.m. Whatnot, don't miss it. So let me read.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, go ahead. Let's read.
So the Jeter stuff. Lab giveaway. So I'll read a few comments. So I got in the hobby because of my dad. He brought me to local card shows when I was in middle school. I fell in love with opening baseball wax like 2007 Ultra, 2008 Upper Deck Masterpiece, and any year SP Authentic Baseball. I've been in the hobby ever since, and me and my dad still share that love for sports cards to this day. My first ever pull from a pack my dad bought me at a mall was a 2007 Fleer Ultra Ryan Braun rookie card out of $4.99. Talk about juicing. I love the hobby in so many ways and have made lifelong friendships because of it. I'll read another one. Meaningful to me because my dad collected for over 30 years and passed his collection down to me, and I never thought I'd love cards like I do now. Truly a hobby I didn't realize I wanted or needed. Into that. Let me get one here. Grew up buying hockey and baseball cards in the late 80s and early 90s. Recently, 2019, I got back into cards with my 2 boys. They absolutely love sports and are very good at knowing player stats and who is good. And here is my winner. The GOATS cards. Jeter as his profile pic. A graphic designer. Really talented guy. Just like everyone else, I got back into the hobby when I was younger, back in the late 1990s. When I was still living in the Philippines. Budget was non-existent back then, specifically in the area where I grew up. You could pretty much buy dinner for the family with just one pack of Upper Deck Collector's Choice. The thing I loved the most were the interactions with the other kids in the neighborhood. No one cared if you were poor, rich. Everyone had that bond, which were cards. It's funny because back then my buddies and I couldn't even afford a copy of Beckett magazine, so we would ask the LCS to make copies for us. Those were the days. We didn't care too much about flipping or what the value of cards were. I'll read two more. The hobby means a lot to me. In France, it was little known and even less baseball. My grandmother offered me a trip to Canada where I discovered this sport and bought my first cards. When I got home, my sister found me a pack of Finest 98 by chance. I discovered a throwing card Finest Top Sterling of the captain, Derek Jeter, and I've been collecting it ever since 2001. I haven't stopped. It's part of my life. And last one, I got into the hobby to help pay off debt. It took me 8 months in the hobby plus 2 full-time jobs to pay off all my debt. I'm debt-free and basically using the hobby to beat my day job every month. I've been in the hobby since March 2020. Now, none of the comments are better than any others. I had to choose one winner, but all of those are amazing. And what's so amazing about the hobby is every single one, if you kind of have a thread in between, it's the connections, it's the relationships with my dad, with my kids, with the people on the block. And that's what it's all about, right? We're all we've talked about how social media has actually made us lonelier, right? Loneliness is the biggest thing. With COVID, people were saying they were dying more because of loneliness than the disease. Community, I'll even go one step further. They've done studies that to live longer, it's not about smoking or not smoking, drinking or not drinking, exercise. It's the quality of your social relationships. That's actually been the one thing that's the most important in longevity of life. And the hobby has provided those relationships to so many people. And this giveaway, I wanted to serve as a reminder to you guys about why people got into it in the first place. So congratulations to Goats Cards. Now, a little second giveaway. We got this hoodie also was in the influencer pack. I believe it's a size large. So if you listen to our show and you commented and you're interested in this hoodie, let me know. So the Jeter plaque is given away. But we got this Arena Club Bleaker hoodie unopened. I'm not even going to take it out of the bag. I believe it's size large. It's going to go to one of you guys as well. We love you, Luca Nation.
Well, listen, the guys you just read their comments but didn't get picked a winner, just send me their screen names. I'll send them a message, and hopefully they have like Panini Digital. I could send them some Panini Digital stuff also just for being on the show. That'd be nice too.
More NFT talk.
More. I don't want to talk about NFTs. You know, people don't like when we talk about NFTs at all. People hate the NFT talk. I know they do, but you know, it is what it is. But I can give away something else. You know, if it's the Yankee fans, obviously, we can try to send them some Yankee stuff. I got a bunch of Yankee stuff if they're not on the old digital stuff as well. But nice job, man.
Message Cage Lawyer.
Yeah, give me a message, and you know, I mean, we'll send you out some digital stuff. And that, I mean, listen, one more thing.
Tell me.
Because also comments on this, and maybe you'll do it as well because you have some fun stuff buying in the PWCC Weekly. When we talk about like influencers, we talk about the hobby and the whole deal. I don't want to curb people showing off their PCs and their collections. I'm going to do better at that also. I mean, I'm still picking up cool items. You mentioned, you know, the Jackie Robinson that I bought recently. When I get those in hand or when they get into my PWCC vault, I may take a picture of them and share them also. Because it can't just be all memes and like, here's the price coming down, the whole deal. You know, what got people excited about collecting in the first place before COVID or even during COVID was being able to kind of show off these cool things that we're picking up, the cool things we're buying. And I think, you know, and I hope I'm not adding to this, but I think people might be a little bit afraid of, you know, showing off their collection, showing off what they bought, for fear of, why would you buy that? Or, you know, this gets posted like, look at what this guy paid for this or whatever it may be, right? That we got to get rid of that. And instead, you know, let's show off the cool stuff we're collecting because that's, you know, that's what it's about. Remember, it's supposed to be, we're building up our collections. We are collectors, and nothing wrong with flipping and, you know, and investing in the whole 9 yards. But ultimately, you know, what I was talking about yesterday and the day before about, you know, we love this stuff and that's why it's worth money. We don't love it because it's worth money. Stole that from you, Josh, Cobra Chronicles. Sorry, I give you credit.
Do you think people are, I know we got a few minutes to cap. I have one more comment I'm going to read for you guys. This was a funny one. But do you feel people are a little afraid or discouraged from sharing?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, no one's told me that they are, but I could see it, you know, with the market the way that it is now where, you know, look, I'm putting out memes and fun stuff about Judge. I mean, you know, maybe somebody sees that and they were about to show me the Judge card they bought and maybe they're, you know, fearful of doing it now because I'm like, oh, you should have sold Judge, not buy Judge. And, you know, I don't want that. I want, you know, I want people to be happy with what they're buying, buy stuff that you're a fan of and buy stuff that, you know, you're happy to have in your collection and show it off. And if you bought something recently, I guess for me, what I can do, I don't have the hugest following in the world, but it's growing. But if you bought something cool and you want to show it off as a collector, send me a picture of it. I'll post it. I'll put it in my story. I'll repost it. Tag me.
The only thing to be afraid of is fear itself. You've heard that, right? The only thing to fear is fear itself.
Yeah.
But I'll add to that because I always thought adults were smarter than kids. And it's like we struggle with nuance. And the only time you should be concerned about what someone says about your collection is when you don't have conviction of why you're buying it. Like, and it's that simple. Like, I show off my collection and I get messages, awesome, and this is the dumbest buy ever. And then that's back and forth.
Maybe it's not fear. Maybe, you know, maybe it's just people want to post this stuff because it's fun and, you know, not hear. I mean, they may have all the confidence in the world, but you post what you got and if half the comments are like, that's dumb, or you shouldn't have bought that, or you overpaid, you know, it kind of takes some of the fun out of it. I mean, fear might be the wrong word that I'm using. I mean, part of it is that, you know, but you can have all the conviction in the world, but you don't want to be defending it. You want to put it out there in the world and be like, look at this awesome thing I got, you know, not immediately.
I think that's naive. You got to defend your shit.
Okay. All right.
Maybe it came from that. But I'm like, like as a kid, like my decision is like, why did you do that? Why did you choose to try out for that team? Why didn't you do this? Why did you choose this? And you got to go and defend it. This is why. I have conviction. I believe in myself. I believe in my decisions. So I don't know. It's interesting, but I'll read you guys one more comment. But can you guys tell I don't love like the whole pampering culture that's going on? But wrap with this. It's, yep, you're growing on me. As you know, I've been a long time listener. And for the first year or so, I thought you didn't make any sense. But, big but, you've really stepped up your game. You have intelligent information to provide. Plus, the balance you and Cage have works. Really enjoy what you guys do. Keep it up.
So thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So, as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is. 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com. or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luca Nation.